discrimination. It's something that's happening more and more in this country on a variety of different platforms and a variety of different mediums. And the latest one is the National Gallery is discriminating against children who are independently educated. Why? Don't really know. They've not given any real reason other than they want to make their art programme more widely available. Apart from if you're in an independent school, then it shouldn't be widely available for you. So this has been exposed by a story in the Daily Telegraph today, which I will read bits of it out for you, is just extraordinary. National Gallery accused of discrimination against private schools. Museum's £240 competition fee for independent schools reinforces harmful stereotypes, critics say. So effectively, there's a competition that anyone can enter, but if you're from an independent school, it's going to cost £240 to enter the art competition. If you're in a state school, not only is it not going to cost you any money, but you get £50 towards your art materials to enter the competition. So they're almost paying you to enter the competition. In fact, not almost, they are. And yet you are paying them to enter the competition if you are from an independent sector. Now, this isn't addressed in the article, but I'm wondering if when you enter, if you have to put what school you come from on your entry form next to your artwork. Because if we're this discriminatory about who can enter, one would only assume that that follows through and we're going to be that discriminatory over who can win. So that's the headline. We have in the article lots of other little bits and bobs, tasty little morsels that may or may not inflame your anger. But what we do know in this is that publicly funded institutions have a responsibility to represent and serve the whole public. They must urgently review this short-sighted decision. This is from Nigel Huddleston, the Shadow Culture Secretary. And I completely agree with that. I think that's absolutely right. And particularly, we're talking about art here. We're talking about something that everybody should be able to enjoy and be part of. But the bit that really gets my wick is that a third of kids in independent schools have some kind of bursary or some kind of fee assistance or are unable to make all of the fees by themselves, which would suggest that a third of children in the independent sector are not these cost-absorbing rich individuals, nor are their parents. They are just normal kids. I mean, obviously, I would assume all the children in the independent sector are normal kids. It's not up to them how much their parents earn. It's not up to them how their parents choose to spend the money, is it? It's just where they go to school. But children who are under the age of 16, who have no real legal rights in anything whatsoever, they are being discriminated against for their parents' choice and for the state's choice and for Bridget Phillips and Rachel Reeves's choice. They're being discriminated against for being kids in the wrong school at the wrong time if you are of the view of the Labour Party, which is effectively what it is, isn't it? You are going to an independent school within our election and within our government period. So therefore, you were in the wrong school at the wrong time and you will be penalised, you will be discriminated against. And the National Gallery is joining other organisations who are actively doing so. Now, if we scroll down in this, we see that they're not the only ones, as I've just said. The Bank of England Museum has blocked private school pupils from attending its education presentations. The bank said that whilst all pupils could visit its museum, it could only offer its free 45-minute presentation to state school groups because of its limited resources. We need expansion on that. That says nothing. That says absolutely nothing. That does not say why you can only offer the free presentation to state school children. Limited resources, what's that got to do with it? How does that affect where the children come from? Because you'd have to ask, wouldn't you, first of all? You'd have to ask what school they come from. You'd have to say, are you from an independent school or a state school? And then all of a sudden, your limited resources preclude you from doing it. How? How? Do you have people that are allergic to speaking to kids from the independent sector? So you don't have someone that can stand in. That resource was limited because the person that was supposed to do the presentation is allergic to speaking to those in the independent sector. So there was no one to fill their place. Is that what that limited resource means? I mean, how else would a limited resource preclude the museum from giving a presentation to the independent sector? Don't know. Just posing the question. Would love an answer. Would absolutely love an answer. We won't get one, of course, will we? And then we go into a spokesman said economics as an academic subject is less widely taught in non-selective state schools than independent schools. But hang on a minute. Less widely taught, but not taught in non-selective state schools. So are we charging grammar schools and selective schools as well? Non-fee paying grammar schools and selective schools? Or is it just the fee paying? So if you go to a grammar school or a selective school, will you be precluded from having the free presentation? Because you're selective. Now, we know that the Labour government want to get rid of selective and grammar schools as well. So we know that all they want is state education. But for this purpose, that makes no sense. And if we're going to say things like economics are less widely taught in non-selective state schools, then could we have a chat with Bridget Phillipson, who has taken further maths off the funding curriculum and Latin as well? I mean, God, if it was the Royal School of Veterinary, whatever, would you not get a talk there? Because you need Latin to be a vet, don't you? And that's being taken off the curriculum as well because Bridget Phillipson's cut the funding. So we're saying it's less widely taught, but it's less widely taught because of the person in charge of state education, which is Bridget Phillipson. Sort of self-perpetuating. Do you see what I mean? If you're going to take off the curriculum, the things that are less widely taught, they're going to become less widely taught. And I don't know. This is where we get to meritocracy, but would it not be that we would want people to go into some form of economics? I mean, I can't personally think of anything worse. It makes me feel thought of it. But would we not want those that go into it to be actually good at economics? I mean, I give you Rachel Reeves. That's the perfect case in point, isn't it? So would we not be wanting people best suited for the role in the future to be there? I don't know. Just another one of my little thoughts. So we've got that. We've got about how, here we go. As of 2025, 40% of schools will be participating from the independent sector and 60% from the state sector. The National Gallery continues to be committed to opening opportunities to all children and young people, regardless of their background. Now, you see, that sentence makes no sense, does it? Because we've got a smaller percentage coming from the independent sector because you've charged them. So how could you be committed to all children regardless of their background? You're not. You're not committed to children from the independent sector and their background. You're only committed to the children from the state sector and their background because you've ignored the fact that many children in the state sector come from wealthier families than many children in the independent sector because the headline said state. So we didn't actually do any sort of like due diligence. We didn't go into the details, did we? We didn't look at any bank statements or anything. We just went, it's state, so it's okay. We'll support them, regardless of the fact that they may well have the support at home. And we've just seen reports about how many people are hemorrhaging money on tutors to get their children into the selective schools. Significantly more money in many cases than people are paying for the lower end independent sector. But because it's state, it's okay. I know, it's interesting, isn't it? It's really interesting. It's like massive double standards. So the National Gallery is not remotely committed to giving all children. What it needs to do is change that sentence and say the National Gallery continues to be committed to opening opportunities to children from the state sector and young people of the state sector background. You need to take out the sentence regardless of their background, in spite of their background. The National Gallery is committed to discriminating. The National Gallery is committed to charging the independent sector for attending something that the state sector gets for free. The National Gallery has committed discrimination. That's what that should say. So if you're thinking of something to do this October half-term holiday, I'd probably give it a swerve if I were you, if they're the kind of people that would actively discriminate against children. And I remind you, these are children that probably didn't get a say in where they went to school. Their parents said, would you like to go to this school? And they said, yes, please, thanks very much, in relation to the kids that go to the independent sector. But we still want to penalise them. I mean, we're penalising their parents by adding 20% onto the fees and taking away their choice. Obviously, we don't like choice in this country, definitely not. So we're penalising the parents, but the ones that it's hurting are the kids, the little people, that we say we're committed to breaking down barriers as we build the biggest barriers that have ever been seen in educational history. I mean, it's 2025 and we're doing that. 2025. and we are actively and openly discriminating against certain children. I mean, wow. Just wow.